Yo, what's up YouTube? Loco here with another Loco recap. For you guys today, I have CLG versus 100 Thieves. So both these teams have a lot of expectation on them. CLG for being one of the old guards, and they also upgraded in mid lane with Power of Evil getting replaced by Crown. As for 100 Thieves, while they are one of the newer teams, they've been a very exciting team in terms of their content, in terms of what they've been able to do outside of League of Legends. And also, the first year they came into League of Legends, they were actually pretty good and they made finals in spring and worlds in summer. But both teams have had a pretty awful start to the season. I think between them, there's been only one win, especially if you're watching this the day I recorded it or the day it's released. Well, they just sucked in week one. That's all you really need to know. And yeah, I'm not expecting too much out of them, but we had a pretty decent game. And there's a really big drafting that I want to talk about and how it echoes throughout the whole game and why I think several of the teams are drafting wrong in North America. Anyways, let's get started with the Loco recap. Let's start with the 100 Thieves draft. They first rotation set on extremely popular champion that's been finally released to everyone in LCS. He's now available and people can pick him. And their bot lane is the infamous Xayah Rakondio, and their jungle mid is Jarvan Zoe. I think Ryoma has a big preference for Zoe. I've seen him pick this champion multiple times now. So if you look at 100 Thieves draft, it's actually a very simple draft to play out. They have really good and really simple engage with Rakan and Jarvan. They have a tanky front line with Jarvan and Sett, and they also have a really good backline in Xayah and Zoe, and this is a comp that's necessarily not really going to get outscaled. It's a great comp going into mid game, and it's a comp that's going to get better and better as you go into late game, and it's very easy to execute. And that's a key point that I really want to touch on. When it's the start of the season, when you really haven't gelled together very well as a team, and you have a lot of new members coming in, and you just don't have your fundamentals down all the way, I think it is so crucial that teams can pick up wins to help rest of their season out, and also to get the snowball started in terms of mental, in terms of just getting on the scoreboard, and everyone feeling good about themselves. League of Legends is a game played by humans, and when these pro players lose, when they go 0-4 in LCS for the first 2 weeks, it's such a miserable start and so hard to bounce back from. And by being able to pick up wins early, you build that trust, you feel more confident, and playing comps like these really helps your win rate. Let's look over to CLG and what they did instead. I'm going to contrast this with what G2 did, because G2 picked actually something really similar. They had Lucian mid, they had a Philios AD carry, and they had a Soraka top lane. While Kayle isn't exactly the same as Soraka, it is still a ranged top that's supposed to win lane. So what CLG's draft really gives them is early game tools. They're going to have priority, they're going to have winning lanes, but there's going to be an onus onto them to snowball. Champions like Lucian and Rek'Sai fall off like a rock going into mid game if you haven't snowballed that lead enough. And I think that's a lot of pressure for a team that showed a lot of dysfunctionality in the first week. Like, they just didn't have their teamwork together. They weren't really working well as a team. Smoothie was engaging while the rest of his team wasn't following up. And individually, there was a lot of problems coming from Wiggly, Ruin, and even Crown. So I really hate CLG's draft. Not because it's a bad draft. It is a draft that's playable. It's a draft with an extremely strong early game. It's a draft with multiple winning lanes. You could even say they have 3 winning lanes. It's just a draft that is going to take them so much well-executed dives and well-executed snowballs. Like, so much finding that window and really just pushing it. G2 was able to do that versus Vitality, but CLG isn't G2. That's the whole thing. Just because a draft works for a certain team doesn't mean that draft will work for you. I don't mean to say any team should always just play team fighting draft, but when it's early in the season and when you're having such a hard time like getting things together, just play that mid-game team fight oriented scaling draft. It will help your win rate. It will make it easy on the players. I just don't know what Song and Weldon are thinking doing this kind of draft for this kind of team at this phase of LCS. And I know there's going to be criticism shown towards me because I criticized TL for going into their team fight draft and not picking up champions like Kiana and just showing me another team fight draft. But it's a little bit different from TL, where they have shown like such strong regional dominance, and the only thing that's left for them is being good internationally. And for TL to get to that level, they need to start playing out more of the 1-3-1 comps and playing pretty much every OP champ in the meta. Just CLG and 100 Thieves are here, TL is here. So we're trying to draft for where we are relative to the other teams and where we are in terms of learning the meta and being able to execute team comps. I hope that made it easy to understand and that made it easy to kind of explain to you guys why I hate this CLG draft, despite it being a playable draft, a strong draft, a draft with winning lanes. Anyways, now let's get to the game. So to start the game, we have Stixxay waiting in the tri-brush. I really hate how Stixxay is waiting here. He can walk up forward, be outside of the brush, and watch a little bit in the river, and you get such a wider field of view, and you see people approaching and you can react to it a lot easier. When you watch from the tri-brush, you actually don't get a lot of vision, and you are forced to react very quickly and often end up burning flash like Stixxay is going to do here. Just, it's season 10, you can get to the river before people can jump you, and have that bigger field of view. I just don't know why pro players would still be making that mistake, but here you guys can see it. Rakan and Xayah walk in, Stixxay doesn't have a lot of time to react, and he's going to have to end up burning flash and take a recall. He actually ends up burning heal too, which is really, really bad. Their laning phase is absolutely smashed now. Due to Stixxay's oopsie early, 100 Thieves actually has a really nice invade that makes it really hard for CLG to deal with, because if they go into contested 3v3, one thing that 100 Thieves can do is they can flash W and just all jump on Stixxay, and it's really hard for him. And now Someday is coming down to get Wiggly off Meteos' red, and Wiggly's going to be pushed out all the way, and he's going to be really delayed in the jungle. Just an amazing start for 100 Thieves. And while Someday is going to be missing some of the creeps and going to be behind a little bit in lane, it actually isn't going to matter that much. It's not like set beats kill early, so he's basically losing like 2 minions worth of CS and gold to make sure his jungler is massively ahead. Now, we're going to fast forward a lot, about 9 minutes into the game, and we have 100 Thieves bot lane recalling and swapping towards top side because they have the priority. We've seen this play a lot. Teams love playing for Herald early, especially due to how strong the plates are now and how hard it is to take the plates off, and Herald allows you a way to take plates without having to commit so many people there, without having to take so much time. But they did this really weird thing where they were going top side and they start walking bot side. They could have had Someday recall and start walking bot side. He has teleport. Set is actually a pretty hard champion to die post 6, so I don't know what 100 Thieves was doing here. They had the right idea in terms of being at top side and swapping early due to the priority, but now they're gonna have to get off Herald, Meteos is gonna have to EQ out, and it just looks really wonky. So yeah, it's mistakes like this where I feel like teams should not be playing early game comps, especially for the newer teams like CLG and 100 Thieves, because they are gonna make mistakes like this, and it's really gonna screw with your snowball. I mean, just look at Lucian. Even though he's up 20 CS on the Zoe, it really doesn't matter that much. You really need to build a big lead when you pick Lucian, and Crown wasn't able to just due to the early game mishaps that happened that we talked about in the level 1. So yeah, if your team isn't crispy clean, don't play team comps that require your team to execute on a crispy clean basis. Here I have for you the best play of the weekend. We see Realma getting an excellent chunk on Crown. This is a really hard matchup, and now Meteos is gonna get the first blood! Nope, Crown's gonna flash out, and he's gonna end up dying. This was actually really unfortunate because Meteos missed it by a few frames, and also, if he was prepared for the fact that he might miss it, he would have immediately followed up with the R and gotten the kill on Crown and traded 1 for 1, but he himself didn't even think he was gonna miss it, so he was just shocked when Crown flashed out and created that distance, and he couldn't land his R. It just looked so terrible. Oh man, I feel for you, Meteos. We have CLG's bot lane coming up, playing off the jungle priority and taking Herald. 100 Thieves on the other hand, looks like they're taking Air Drake on the bot side of the map. We see this play a lot more often than we used to, just due to plays being incredibly hard to take, and these early game objectives like Herald and Dragon being more of the things that people play for now than just trying to get massive amount of plays. You can see both teams splitting sides, 100 Thieves coming all the way to bottom, pushing for that turret, CLG opting to dive Set. Set is not a champion you want to be diving. Starting with the initial W to clear out some of the creeps, and then ulting Wiggly before he can get locked up, creating such a big distance between Ruin and Wiggly, and then now that second W coming in with the full grit shield, and Ruin gonna die using his flash, Wiggly did the same. Set is just such a hard champion to dive whenever he can use his W like that, using it twice to get the shield and also clear out creeps, and his ult makes him unstoppable so he gets to ignore CC. He's just such a monster of a champion. Oh god. Don't be diving Set, guys. If you want to be doing things against Set, just trading size all the way and letting him be. He's a really bad champion when it comes to actually approaching you, but he's a really strong champion when you are the one trying to dive him. He has all these tools to be deceptively tanky and also outplay CC. So yeah, you can see that first W here, clearing out some of the creeps, and then making sure he doesn't get knocked up with the ultimate and also creating the distance. And then that second W perfectly positioned to hit Wiggly whenever he pops up, and then that flashy to make sure Ruin has to die. I don't know why Ruin burned the flash there, he already had the turret on him. After that top dive play, looks like they swap sides again. CLG making the same mistake, trying to make plays on the set. He's just gonna ult you, and he's unstoppable, and he still has the grid shield, so yeah, just stop trying to make plays on the set or dive the set. That's not how you play versus this champion. Also, I do want to criticize Sumday's item build a little bit. He has Black Cleaver and Merc Threats. As a set versus a KO, Rek'Sai, Lucian, Aphelios, you definitely want to be getting Ninja Tabbies. Also, Sumday's running Legend Tenacity, so he already has the Tenacity. As for the Black Cleaver, unless you're versus massive amounts of people that's going to be stacking armor, Trinity's almost always better. And yeah, there's not really going to be people stacking armor on CLG other than Leona, so I would have loved it if he went Ninja Tabby into Trinity, but instead he has Mercs and Cleaver here. But it doesn't matter, because CLG's dumb as bricks, and they just keep trying to dive the set. Stop, you guys! So, we're finally in mid-game, and we're going to get what we signed up for. 5v5s around dragons and big objectives. The whole point of dragon control is controlling that choke, and we can see both teams doing it well and doing it badly. So here is a situation of 100 Thieves kind of doing it badly. Ryoma jumps in and shoots a bubble, and it's in pretty wide space. This is what makes Zoe really dangerous. When people are coming into the choke, using your bubble there, it blocks off that entire choke. Even if you miss, you can shoot Qs at people as they're coming in through the choke, but he just uses it prematurely, and now it's going to give CLG opening to walk right into 100 Thieves, and they don't really have to worry about the Zoe bubble or the Zoe poke, because she used it already. You can see Crown coming in from the side with WR, and here a really big thing happens. They're able to land the Leona ult on the Zoe, so she's completely stunned, and we can see Stunt and Meteos going right to the Zoe to protect her. But on their way, they got hit by the Aphelios Gravitum, so it's really bad for a champion like Rakan to get rooted, because that champion just does not function when you're rooted. Your whole thing is you're mobile, you're able to jump on top of people, and your toolkit gets just completely taken away with the root. So we're going to see that here, but Wiggly makes a huge mistake of going on the 3 instead of just ignoring them and killing Cody and Someday with the rest of his team. Really look at what Wiggly did here, because if he doesn't do this, CLG wipes this team fight. He goes in by himself, goes on Meteos, Stunt's able to RW him, and he gets insta-bursted. And Wiggly dying here is huge. With the jungler dead, CLG's not going to be able to commit to Dragon and take it. Instead, they're just going to have to resort to just pushing out waves and getting a better reset timer. Just a huge mistake from Wiggly to commit to that when he didn't need to, and he could have played with the rest of his team and kill Meteos and Someday. Or Cody and Someday, I think. Excuse me. Now, we have Ruin split pushing bot side by himself. He doesn't even realize he's getting collapsed on. Both Meteos and Ryoma's coming at him, and this guy just has no idea. He flashes, but Meteos follows up with his ult, and he dies without really even using his ult and fighting back and chunking them. Just so much mistakes across the board. Look closely here, because this is the core problem of NA. This is why we're bad. CLG reset, and they're sending 5 people mid, and this is absolutely one of the dumbest things they can do. They have very easy waves to wave clear with the Lucian and the Aphelios holding Infernum and Chakram, so he has access to both turret and the Flamethrower. Ruin just does not need to be here. He should be bot side. He has wars, he could be split pushing, the set built Black Cleaver, like the kill is level 13, she's in a really nice spot to be split pushing and putting on pressure on the enemy team, she already has her teleport up, but instead, he went mid first, and then he goes to do double golems, and then now he's going to think about split pushing. You could have been there earlier. You could have been pressuring that second tier turret that's almost dead. You could have forced rest of 100 Thieves to thin out and really deal with you. But it's just so stupid. I hate what CLG does. They grouped mid initially. They allow 100 Thieves to push up mid and then go top. They had Infernum Aphelios. They could have wave cleared infinitely. It's just dumb beyond words. And then now Ruin's going to sit in the jungle, clear a pink ward, and then get a Gromp. You had such a big opportunity to really push up and really put 100 Thieves in an awkward spot, but instead, like, I don't know, why are we playing split pushers if this is what we're going to be doing? Just play teamfight champions if you're gonna group up for no reason. This is the thing that infuriates me. Like, NA teams, we draft split pushers and we never use it properly, and we don't understand when we need to be at sideways. So for this play, both teams are grouped up mid again. CLG doesn't have the same kind of space they did last time to really split push. Here, it's so important that CLG pulled the trigger instantly. I'm going to play this at 1 speed and I want you guys to look closely. Ryoma should have not used ult here. Ryoma using ult here puts him in such a dangerous spot. Stixxay has Gravitum. Gravitum's the one that CCs. It's the purple cannon thing. And Smoothie has his ult up. If they can time their spells properly and be synced with each other, because both of them have flash, they can catch Ryoma here, and he doesn't really have a play out. He's going to have to return to the original spot he casted ult at, and while he can try to flash away, rest of CLG are going to be able to close in on him if they follow up properly, that is. But look what happens. Stixxay is going to be a little bit delayed on its ult, and so is Smoothie with his flash E, and Ryoma's just going to get away, and CLG is going to completely botch their engage. So we're going to be in a really similar situation like last time, but unfortunately for CLG, they don't have the same kind of space to split push, so they're going to have to force a fight mid lane. Here, Ryoma makes a really big mistake of using R when he can't versus a Leona and a Aphelios that's just right next to him. You don't want to be doing this as a Zoe, especially when Aphelios has Gravitum, his CC weapon, ready to go. If CLG can capitalize on this mistake by Ryoma, they should be able to insta-give him and take the dragon that's coming up. Let's see what happens. Instead, they botch the engage and Ryoma's just able to get out, and they're gonna be in a really shitty spot. Stunt lands a RW on 3 people and Cody gets free space to damage. Whenever Zoe uses an ultimate like that, knowing that she has flash up, you can try to mind game her and flash forward, burn her flash, and then use the Gravitum ult or Leona ult to actually catch her, but they weren't able to here. If they were able to catch Ryoma, man, there was so much awards waiting for CLG. But this is what I mean though. They drafted a comp that's just very high execution, and their engages and their teamwork have to be on point. Now instead, 100 Thieves are going to be able to get mid turret, and they're going to be able to easily pick up this dragon. CLG, everyone's kind of chunk. Smoothie has to go base. Wiggly's like half HP. There's no way they can come in for this. And the time's slowly ticking for CLG. 100 Thieves are getting stronger and stronger, and their comps getting easier and easier to execute as Jarvan gets tankier and as Set gets tankier too. Here's another problem with split pushing and LCS. Players just don't know when to back up. Ruin here should know CLG's coming in for him. He should get the turret and he should just get out as soon as possible. But instead, he's going to stay here to kill all the creep wave, especially the range creeps. Whenever you go to kill range creeps in a situation like this, you're committing deeper because you have to walk up forward to be able to kill them all. If anything, just kill the melee ones and leave. They give you more gold anyways. But look at what Ruin does. He has to stay all the way to kill every single creep. My god, dude, just back up. Killing the melees. Now going for the range. Turning back for the melee. And voila, 100 Thieves are here and they're just going to kill you for free. And the rest of your team isn't in position. Smoothie comes in here to try to help. But Meteos knows that Smoothie doesn't have flash. He's going to flash ultimate immediately and kill Smoothie also. Oh, Smoothie, I get why you're tilted. Your team is trolling you. I feel bad. Ruin, what are you doing? You know you can't be split pushing that deep. Just get the turret and leave. You have no reason to stay for the CS. Oh, I'm so tilted. In that last catch from 100 Thieves, where they were able to kill Ruin and Smoothie, they're getting Baron, and now they're going to be able to push all the way. CLG at this point realizes they're not going to be able to 5v5 them when they have Baron and also their Earth Dragon Soul or the Mountain Dragon Soul, and they're splitting by putting the Lucian and the Rek'Sai mid, while Someday is defending. Here's the problem. As we talked about, Set is undiveable, and 100 Thieves has Baron, so they're going to be able to push up all the way. This actually isn't that bad of a play though, because they also have Kayle split pushing topside, so they're at least getting gold on all 3 lanes, and the Kayle's getting XP too, so she can get close to level 16. They just have to really be careful about getting ended here. Stixxay uses the Inferno ult. It actually does pretty much no damage just due to the Mountain Soul, and CLG is going to be left in a sticky spot where they're going to have to deal with this 100 Thieves Baron up push. There's still about a little bit more than a minute on the Baron. 100 Thieves are going to group up 5-man mid, And yeah, CLG is engaged, not going to be really there. And as we talked about, Lucian and Rek'Sai at this point are just not real champions. They're just not even half a champion, actually. These champions just fall off like a rock. 100 Thieves pushing up with the Meteos up front, Someday up front, incredibly tanky members that CLG can't really even poke down, and they're just going to have to give up 2 inhibs. There's so much pressure on CLG to do something, and things are just getting better and better for 100 Thieves. So after that reset, we have 100 Thieves coming back on top side to play for the last inhibitor left. They're going to do the same thing when they had the Baron. The Set and the Jarvan up front. These champions are too tanky. Even on their turret, they can't really kill them. That was a pretty decent engage. Gravitum ult, Leona ult, but yeah, it just does not matter this late into the game. These champions are massive amount of tanks. Gonna do the same play. Crown gets hit by the Drowsy. The Rakarn Charm afterwards. It's pretty over for CLG. Everyone's dead. But a small bit of silver lining. They're just completely ignoring the level 16 Kayle, and he's going to be able to clean house. So nice triple kill for Ruin, and let's see what CLG can make out of this situation. They end up sending everyone to Elder Drake immediately, and they're able to pick it up. Just due to the long death timers for 100 Thieves, they weren't able to get there in time. So now CLG has a snowball's chance in hell to actually win this game. Comp-wise, and also Elder Drake-wise, they're going to be able to actually match 100 Thieves in terms of 5v5. Elder Drake is so OP as a buff, and level 16 Kayle is a real thing. Like, that champion, when she hits Super Saiyan 3, is a mother monster. YouTube, please don't demonetize me. So at this point, CLG has about minute 40 left on Elder Drake, and it's very crucial that they get the teamfight started right away. They need that Leona engage. They just need to engage. Our chances for the game go so much more down once this Elder Drake ends and they're back to square one, especially with inhibs down and inhibs open. CLG, just do everything within your power to get this team fight started. The Aphelios has Gravitum, they're starting Baron, the right play. You have to turn and fight. You just have to fight. So here's the thing, even though these fights might not look very winnable, if they don't get the fight, the game is just lost. This is the best chance CLG has. They're able to go on stunt, nice engage from Smoothie. Their inhibitors dying. The CLG, 50 seconds left. Let's get this Elder fight. Push up mid. Start the Dragon, or start the Baron, excuse me. Leona still has E-Flash. That's definitely an engage tool. Got hit by Drowsy. Use the W. Make sure you're tanky. You have to be aggressive. You don't have time. The time's not on your side. Rakan's dead for 15 seconds. Go start Baron. Do something. I feel like this team just does not recognize the map state they're in. They need to get something started. They need that fight. They still have an engaged tool with Aphelios ult. Fight! Oh! The Aphelios ult misses. They're running away. Elder Drake, 10 seconds left. The game is done. The game is done. 100 Thieves just going to be able to get Baron, and yeah, and that's about it. That's how the cookie crumbles. So there you have it. That's how 100 Thieves were able to get their second win, and CLG managed to go 0-3. I think the skill level for both teams were actually pretty similar, but the comps they drafted made it Tale of Two Cities. One team drafted a very early game, priority-oriented, execution-heavy comp. Another team drafted a very easy-to-execute, teamfight-based scaling comp. And you can see how much that plays into the gameplay itself. The mistakes are so unforgiving for another team. For 100 Thieves, them making mistakes early, mid-game, didn't matter that much. They could always scale up, and they had something to lean on. As for CLG, my god, it's so infuriating to watch them play as a Smoothie fan. Man, Smoothie's doing everything in his power, but Wiggly, Ruin, Crown, you guys aren't helping him at all. So, there you have it, another Loco recap. This one might have been extra long. I hope you still enjoyed it. I mean, I try to have a theme throughout the whole video about team comps and how the same draft for G2 was god-awful for CLG, just due to the level of execution and level of where both teams are at. So anyways, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. And one last thing, I'm not crazy, I'm just Loco. Later.